I look young, but I started a private equity firm, and I'm going to take you through the steps on how I did it. And yes, it does relate to the last video with Harvard. The reason that I'm starting up this private equity firm isn't because of the fact that I think that I'm going to do better than Alex Hormozi and Layla Hormozi, and I forgot their partner's name. I know it starts with an SHA. I hate that I don't know this. Editor Ken, put it right here. Do it. I know it. The main reason that I'm doing this is because I understand that the private equity game makes the most billionaires, and also it's just a game that I've wanted to be in a while. You know, buying and selling houses like real estate always interested me, but I didn't see the return on it like as big as private equity, and so I would love to go into private equity to basically buy and sell companies, because that's at the most basic level what they do. Obviously, I know more about what private equity does. How did I do this? And exactly what do I have in my private equity firm that already shows that I have private equity and I'm not just saying BS? If you guys remember my last video, which was how I got into Harvard with a 2.8 GPA, I'm in this summer program, and we just finished week 2, and we do Monday through Friday. So basically I've had one weekend, and I'm recording this on a Saturday, so this is the start of the second weekend in the program. But in 2 weeks, I've already built such a rapport with so many people that I'm officially partnering with 4 startups, and I have stakes in all 4. However, I am a silent partner, and I do not have voting shares. I have non-voting shares. For those of you who don't know what that means, non-voting shares just means that I don't have ownership. I just get the profit shares. Because quite honestly, having voter share is not overrated, but why? Plus, when they need to sell the company, they're probably going to have to get my non-voting shares too. So that means no matter what, they have to come for me and buy my shares back in order to sell it to a company for a bigger multiple. Because that's just how it works. Now, I'm not saying that because I'm a bad person. Obviously, I'm going to give it to them at the market price, and I will make a deal with them so that way they can pay me after they get paid. But as private equity firm, how did I get to the point to where I can get percentages of companies? Because I'm going to give you guys something that's pretty funny. I spent $0 to be able to do this. Zero. Nothing. Well, I mean, that's not counting the cost that it takes to go to the Harvard program. But there's a lot more that went into it that you guys can replicate for free, but it takes a lot of work. So pick and choose. So basically, what I did was I studied business for a decade, and I've been doing leadership communication stuff. So I knew what I was talking about when it comes to leadership, starting up a business, and the very first steps, because I've been there, done that so many times. They have not. For many of these kids, they're first-time founders. Most of these people don't have the experience in Harvard. They don't have the understanding of what it's like to actually be a startup. They understand the concept of a startup, and they understand the frameworks of a startup, but they have not lived through it. And I understand it, and I know what it's like to be in the moment, because I have many failed companies. Well, I mean, I say many, but it's multiple, 3, 4 at the very least. But I know what that's like. And it's okay to fail at a company. In fact, I would not be surprised if this private equity firm fails. I don't think it will, because it literally has no cost other than my time. But it is a very huge thing to where I'm shifting over to private equity, and that means that I need to start being a better teacher and a better leader for these founders, so that way they grow their business, so that way my business then by proxy grows. I'm placing bets on many founders, again, getting contracts in line. I only have 4 officially, and I have another couple on the way. But when it comes to private equity in this sense, it is a very rigid task, but all of these people are moving faster than anyone else I know. They're moving so that every day they get something done. In fact, when the startups, they're going from 1 week, the very first week that we started, which was, I believe, Tuesday, Wednesday, they had an idea for a startup. And this upcoming week, they're launching the product. So it took them 1 week and then 2 weeks to launch. And then when the founders just started writing his book 2 days ago, and he's planning on finishing it in 3 weeks. Now, is it going to be the best book ever? Obviously not. But it's the fact that he's taking these actions and having these quick turnaround times. He's getting the experience so fast that it doesn't matter if it's not great. He's getting the experience so that way later on when he can have the time to invest into long-term assets like that, he has the experience to fall back on. He would be able to have that experience to be able to fall back on in order to tell a greater story to make something even better. And that is the biggest thing that I've been learning about this, is that private equity is 100% a big game, and I'm such a privileged person to be able to have this opportunity to teach these people, because I've been giving them resources that they never would have had. In fact, I've given someone, for the lack of a better term, my own mentor, some resources that he's been asking for over a decade that no one was willing to provide except for myself. And that may seem weird, and it's like, how did I get something that he's been asking other people for a decade and he's gone no. I had private access to a resource that most people would not willingly share for free because they spent a lot of money on it, but I was willing to give it to my teacher because I had access to it. And I've learned so much from it, and I've learned so much about the private equity game, and I've taught all the founders exactly how it looks like to an investor and how to set up their startup, how to set up their company in a way that looks appealing to an investor so that way they can get funding. And that's the main thing that I'm looking for, because once they get funding, I get a little bit of that funding. I don't ask for more than 7%. There is one deal that goes over 7%. But that's what's going on. On top of that, I get the resources of the founders. I get their knowledge. Multiple of them are experts at building apps and websites. Guess what? I need an app and a website for my stuff that is coming very soon that you guys will hear about. But I need a website. I need an app. Maybe not an app, but I need a website for that stuff. I need SEO help. I need YouTube help. I need TikTok help. I need Instagram help. I need social media help. I need speaking help. I need business help. And if I can draw from the experiences of these 30 founders, all consolidated into multiple, I'm not going to say how many exactly, but more than 4 and less than 30, but of these companies, of these startups, I get to access all of their learning in real time and then spread it across the entire portfolio, so that way they don't all make the same mistakes, so that way we all move so much faster. And that's how I give value to them, and they get value from me by me telling them the problems and giving them all the information this early on. In fact, I was texting with one of the founders this morning, and we're pretty much friends at this point. And she was just like, I feel like this is a one-sided friendship because you've just given me and my co-founders just so freaking much. And I'm like, yeah, I tried to help because this is what I want to do. I love helping people out 100%. And on a selfish note, which isn't the reason I gave her, because the real reason is genuinely I love helping other people out and I love seeing them grow. But on a selfish reason, private equity. I need to be a better coach. I need to be a better mentor so everyone can get the same resources, so that way I can teach the best, so that way I can get the most gain. What's coming in the future? Well, here's what I'll tell you. The content here I'm planning on posting more of, and all the personal projects that I'm doing, I want to continue doing, and I will not stop because I'm opening a private equity firm along with all the other projects I have. I don't plan on canceling any of the projects, whether or not you guys have heard about it or not. And I promise you guys have not heard almost any of it. And in the last video, I talked about 2 big projects that were coming up. But man, I got plans. And I got actions because me and my mentor have already been talking. And me and the founders have already been talking. And me and my partners have already been talking. I do really, really, really want to make sure that this channel stays as almost like a personal brand. So that way you guys can not just see who I am, like I'm the business guy. I want you to see me as Kentaro Sajak, or Ken Sajak, whichever is easier. The reason I say Kentaro Sajak is because the album's coming out kind of soon, and well, like some of the albums coming out kind of soon, and there's some things in there that, like, there's a lot of things. But when it comes to this channel, this is almost like my own kid in a way, because I want to teach the lessons that I learned to you guys just as much as I would teach my own child. Granted, if I ever, because we all know that I'm not good looking enough for this. It's almost as if I were to teach my own child the lessons I've learned. And that's how I feel about everyone that I teach. And it's not the fact that they're terrible at everything. It's the fact that I understand this more than they do, and I want to teach them so that way they can get better. As a mentor, as a teacher, it is my job for them to catch up and surpass me in a fraction of the time that it took me. So, like, one of the things that we're about to do, me and one of my friends / like helpers for right now, is that we're about to teach Mark in my TED Talk. We're about to teach Mark how to speak on stages. And we have set a deadline for 1 week after we start that he has to be on stage. And I want to take you guys through that journey too. And it took me 10 years to get the skill of speaking. And I'm not even good at speaking on camera. This is just on stages. But with Mark, I want to teach him all those 10 years of lessons in a week. Is he going to learn everything? Absolutely not. But he's going to skip the 4 to 5 years that it took to set a foundation. So he will be only 4 to 5 years behind. And if he gets another month or 2 around me and like we talk about speaking a lot, he's going to already be caught up. And if he puts it into practice, I don't see why he wouldn't have the same exact skill as me in 6 months. So that means the decade that it took, it only takes him 7 months. And that's what I love about this, and I want that to happen because I don't care if people are better than me. I want people to be better than me so I can learn from them. I want to learn from people. And that's also why I'm starting up this private equity firm, and that's why I'm teaching you guys here on YouTube. This is not for the long term. Yes, I am looking for the money. I am looking to get paid. But I'm also looking for fulfillment. And this channel can help provide that, and I know that. Even if I don't reach 1 million subscribers, even if I don't reach 100,000 subscribers, even if this channel we just passed 30,000 views, even if this channel only has 40,000 views for the lifetime of the channel, it would have been worth it to have something so that way if people ever want to learn, they can look back on my entire life, at least starting off at 17. They can look back on my whole life and win and see how I won and the mistakes I made, because I'm young and I don't care about making mistakes, because making mistakes is the only way you get ahead. And showing those mistakes not only keeps me accountable, but it teaches you the mistakes that I made so that way you don't make the same ones. But that's why I'm starting up my private equity firm. If you want to check out my last video on how I got into Harvard with a 2.8 GPA, check it out. If you want to watch my TED Talk, check it out here. I really appreciate you guys, and I can't wait to show you guys what's coming up next.